Good afternoon, everyone. If everybody can find a seat if you want to sit down. Just want to thank everybody for coming out. It's our 5th full signing day, and so it's another landmark for this football program that we saw some great things happen last fall, and with this class that's coming in, we're going to expect more out of Coach Shealy and the coaching staff coming up in 2017. But just want to thank everybody again. And there's food in the back, and Coach Shealy will be available when he is finished with announcing this class. I want to welcome everybody watching on hbuhuskies.com, and it's a bigger production than we've done in the past, and really excited to bring that to everyone on their wherever they are, in their office, in their home, just sitting in a coffee shop somewhere. So really excited about the broadcast today with Legacy Sports Network. Appreciate them producing this and being a part of what we've done here from day one with HBU football. So now, without further ado, I want to announce head coach Vic Shealy, who will announce this year's 2017 National Signing Day football class.
Well, good evening. This is truly a great week here in Houston with the Super Bowl, but even better than the Super Bowl is signing day. And it's amazing how signing day has now become almost a national holiday. And all across the country, there are thousands of young men whose futures are being changed. And we're excited today to be able to announce 17 freshmen that signed with us their national letter in scholarships this morning, along with 3 junior college players that are mid-year transfers that are on our campus here now for about 3 weeks. And so it is with a lot of excitement that we as a staff, share these guys with you today. You know what has really become maybe an annual platform just to be able to say thanks to a lot of folks. Dr. Robert Sloan, our president, continues to do things that I think from a football staff that we feel very, very grateful and very, very honored to have a president who truly gets football, sees the value in it, and supports not just football, but all athletics and all endeavors on this campus beyond the academic side, which certainly, drives our sales. But we're fortunate to all be here. Thank you for all those that are here. It's great to see so much of the university community part of us, and this morning and this afternoon. So thank you. I think that probably it's proper to give a measure of thanks. Our athletic director, Steve Maniaci, continues to show us great leadership and support of football here. I can tell you that here in a minute, as I kind of identify some people in recruiting that go above and beyond, you cannot be successful at the Division I level in football and recruit without an athletic director that stands in the gap when you need someone to be able to make a hard decision for you or to support something that's really critical for you to be able to get a guy on campus. And so we're very grateful and blessed for that. There are countless of individuals that go on that are part of the recruiting process. I don't really think it's possible for most folks to really understand how many individuals are involved in the recruiting process. I can tell you that from a timeline standpoint, starting next week, I know that we will already have one kid for next year's recruiting class offered next week, and the process starts so fast. And so with that, drives a lot of folks that day in, day out that I'm thankful that they are patient with us in the way that we approach them. Academically, through Jake Winters and Samantha, Margaret, and Rachel, and all you, and that just give of yourself above and beyond to help us be able to understand who these young men are academically and see where they're a fit at HBU. For a lot of the folks there from Sarah and Candace and all the Maggie, they're so involved on the facility side to help us be able to open up the campus to the side of our campus that helps us with meals and drives that through our partners with Marriott and just countless people that really support us along the way in our recruiting effort. I think probably the forgotten folks most often in recruiting are our families, our wives, our children. I can tell you that for most of them, they are probably just can't wait until the day is over with because they get a chance to have a man back in their life, for good or bad, that they've missed for a while. And our children are probably the ones who are the most patient. And so we're grateful for our families for that. Our players are so heavily involved with the recruiting process when they come on campus, and as our own players host the recruits as they come on campus, it gives them a snapshot as to the type of young men we have here at HBU. A really critical part of our university is when a young man comes on campus and can sit down face to face with a faculty member and be able to spend an hour with them to be able to talk about their academic life while they're at HBU, and as much as that is then talk about how HBU can help them get to where they want to be as young men academically and professionally in life. You know, we don't pay our faculty to come up here and give away a Saturday afternoon, and they do it graciously and without too much arm twisting, I guess, Jake. And so it's with just humility that our staff is really appreciative of them. We have a phenomenal group of young men that I'll get ready to kind of share with here shortly. But one of the things that really has been pretty amazing this year is the families behind these recruits. Every year, you know, we probably go back and some of our most greatest memories is when we were in the homes. And, you know, there's a lot around a kitchen table or in a living room when you sit down, our staff and myself, with families, that you begin to kind of truly understand who they are. And then they get a real transparent look at who we are, because when you have someone in your home for about 2 hours, you get a pretty good opportunity once about the first 15 minutes are over with to find out who's who. And then when you kind of come on campus, those relationships get further established. And these parents of these guys have become truly some of the most favored people that I've gotten to know. And our recruits are fortunate to have these folks in their life. And there's a big village around each one of these young men, and we have enjoyed being a part of what's come alongside their hopes and dreams for their sons. And then, you know, probably last but least, you know, it's the coaches. I think in this state we are blessed. By far and away, Texas is the finest football state in the country. Now, I've got some coaches here that play football in Florida, in Louisiana, and they'll probably have that word with me later. And we have recruits from those other areas. But certainly, you know, this state doesn't have to, take a step back to any state in the country. We have great high school coaches in this state. They get recruiting. They understand recruiting, so that when we were in that high school, as we tried to develop a relationship with that coach along with the recruit, it's amazing how fortunate the recruits in this state are to be able to have men that truly can advise them as to what is a authentic conversation and what is a sales pitch, and what can you really hang your hopes and your dreams on as a recruit, and then what is just kind of a dangling carrot that might disappear the next day. And so our coaches in this state are to really be praised and recommended. But beyond that, we've enjoyed, we've got a good presence now in southern Louisiana, and so I think that our footprint is getting bigger in recruiting and wider, and so we're grateful for those men. Back, as I spoke, you know, next week we will begin recruiting for the 2018 class. This time last year, I think I probably alluded to the fact that recruiting will start within the weeks after the sign date, and it does. As a staff, we immediately already have names. We spend a good bit of part of the last 7 or 10 days in January when we be out recruiting, because the number of guys that we're recruiting is down to a very few number at that point in time, and we call it junior recruiting. We're out identifying players for the next year. It helps us be able to maximize a dollar spent, that when we're already out there seeing the guys who we're actively a part of this class, to be able to sit there and make that dollar stretch by really getting into high schools and starting a leg up on next year's class. And so that process is well down the road. We come back in. We'll end up spending several weeks in the spring out in the schools again, getting a chance to have FaceTime with coaches, watching practice, and then we come back in, and June has now become a significant working month for college coaches with camps and with all the evaluation process. The timeline in football recruiting has become so much more fast forward up that you got to get your homework done right and early. And many of these guys who they're signed today have been in our camps, and that's the direct result of efforts by our coaching staff to identify them early, to evaluate them, and to get them on campus for camp. I do want to kind of sit there and really give the greatest amount of respect and appreciation and praise for our coaching staff. It is difficult when you're sitting there and when you can sign 20 guys and you got 9, 10 coaches in a room, and they're all fighting and competing for as many or as big piece of that pie that they can get, because each one of them want to have guys to coach. And it takes a lot of big-time character for a coach to understand that it's about us being well recruited in all positional areas. It takes maturity to get that done, and our staff has this year, I think, shown that even more so than any other time that I know them to work with them. I know that it takes discipline. Sometimes in June, whenever we're kind of saying that if we're going to take a certain position, maybe it's a linebacker, we're taking one inside guy and a couple outside kind of guys, and you give definition to what you're looking for, because each of those linebacker types have different frames, different elements of quickness, and some qualities that you're looking for to differentiate. You've got to be very disciplined in how you slot guys. And then in recruiting, whenever you kind of come to a point where you've got a certain type of profile finished in recruiting, you got to be able to walk away from a player and go take care of needs. And so it's a very disciplined approach, and our staff has become very good at it. And I'm just really, really proud of the guys that I get a chance to work with every day. I do want to go through these guys real quick. These are incredible young men to begin with. They're good students, and one criteria, we want character, because I think character can be evaluated. We want a guy who has a football-sized heart, because I think a man's heart and his competitive drive can be evaluated. And we want young men that are of character, but also who respect and admire the value of education in their life. And so once they clear that bar, then we're looking at the measurables, how fast, how tall, how, those qualities that drive them, really to the final decision of whether we offer them a scholarship or not. The 17 freshmen we signed represent a pretty complete effort to recruit all positional areas. The first young man that I want to speak about is Ethan Beek. Ethan is a cornerback out of Katy Taylor High School, a local product. Extremely athletic guy. I think when you kind of looked at Ethan, is a phenomenal top-end gear speed. You have fast guys, and then you watch them on tape, and when they even go faster, you can see them change another gear to go faster. That is a God-given trait. We can't coach that. And Ethan possesses that gear that you can't coach, and shows it time and time again on the field. He's a 6'1" corner and long arms, and those guys are really hard to find. As receivers are getting taller and taller, those taller corners become a real bonus to you in your program. Comes from a great family. His mom was a scholarship volleyball player here at HBU, and so this is second generation Husky, and that's a pretty cool thing. And I think just at the end of the day, we got a really good playmaker in Ethan Beek. James Brown, and I know some of you guys are going to probably now break out in a song right now, because James Brown was one of my favorite dudes, okay? But James Brown is a really good running back in this city. He's a product of Stafford High School here in town, and really, you saw that program achieve a lot of great things this year. Really athletic program. Stafford has become, I think, a pot of athletes that everybody's really kind of focused on, and we're really excited. I think when you look at kind of guys that are Mr. Excitement, this is written all over it. His ability to accelerate, change direction, and re-accelerate is phenomenal. His ability to take and go for 60 and 70 yards out. I think y'all have seen now we are a program that has been blessed with good running backs. We've done a really good job in recruiting, identifying running backs in our program. And James is consistent with a guy that we have no doubt will compete for all conference honors like Terrence Peters much has in this past season. Ladarius Dickens is kind of probably one of the most interesting athletes that we signed in this class. He is a combination slot receiver, tailback. And those guys are not always easy to find, because they don't have the toughness to be a ball carrier if they're just a receiver. And sometimes as a running back, you don't have that elusiveness and the ability to play toss, in open field. Ladarius does that and does it phenomenal. Was in our camp in Highland Park in Dallas this past summer, and we fell in love with him both as an athlete. I think he has that wow factor that you sit back and you just, after about 3 or 4 snaps, you kind of turn the computer off and say, okay, that one's an offer. And that's one of those no-brainers. Even a guy who can't see can figure that one out. So he's a special guy there. Dennis Houston's a wide receiver out of Warren High School in San Antonio. And I do want to back up. Ladarius Dickens is out of Rowlett High School in the Metroplex in Rowlett, Texas. And sorry about that there, Ladarius. Don't want to leave your hometown out. But Dennis is at a Warren High School in San Antonio, is a beautiful wide receiver, came to our Houston camp this summer, is a tall receiver at about 6'2" to about 190, fiercely competitive, a huge track guy here in the state of Texas, can outright just scream. And he's one of those kind of guys when he runs, all the trash cans, all the litter flies up out of the trash can from the vacuum behind it. He can really go. And he's a beautiful guy with route running. His catch radius is dynamic, a great student, and certainly one that I think it won't take him very long for people to know who Dennis Houston is. He's got a great last name playing in Houston, so you can't make that up, so that's good stuff. Segun Ajira is a beautiful Nigerian young man that absolutely just blew us away at our Dallas camp. He came in there, and when we looked at him, this is a big human being, a big old square body that can move his feet like an agile skill guy. And he's just a neat student. His mom's done a great job of raising him to be highly respectful. He's just a blessing for us as coaches to be around. We could be more proud. He's a defensive tackle and really a dominating guy, quick, agile, big guy. And these 300-pound guys that are about 6'2", they don't come around very often. You can't coach that. And we're so excited about Shagun here in the days ahead. Jalen Johnson is a wide receiver out of Klein Collins High School here in the greater Houston area. Jalen is a 6'4", 6'5". Once you get to be about 6'4", it's kind of hard to judge the additional half-inch, but he's way up there. And he's got really long arms. When we talk about catch radius, meaning that how many balls can he catch that are way outside it's like the wow factor. When he makes a catch like way over here, you go, oh, wow, all right? That catch radius is something there that you really recognize in him early. He can run really, really well. He's a complete player. Sometimes those tall guys are not always great stop-start guys, but he's so athletic. He's a great basketball player here in the city also, and is really a tremendous family, great student, and we're blessed to have Jalen on campus. Samir Matula is probably the biggest guy in this class. I think it's 6'7", 310, and I think he is probably 6'7" and still growing. He's a big, tall, beautiful redhead, and I tell you what, it makes me want to be redheaded if I look like that. And great family, great character, great student, a great football player, was highly recruited. He's one of those off-the-chart kind of linemen that you look at. And I know one thing. When we start talking about finding ways to win the Southland Conference, these are the guys up front that you do it with, no doubt about that. And we're so excited. His humbleness is refreshing, but yet the way he plays on the field, he's a beautiful athlete, the way he runs around. It's an incredible thing. Cole Miller is a defensive back out of Bowie High School in Arlington. I think in the Metroplex, Coy is probably one of the most complete defensive backs that I have seen in a long time come on tape. Extremely well coached athlete out of Bowie. Has phenomenal footwork. He has great instincts for the position. He's got dynamic movement, and he's intelligent. And he was a late decommit from an FBS school to us. As many of these guys in class, we were very fortunate to be able to kind of catch them at a time where they're still open to a change of schools. And so we're kind of glad that he's wearing the orange and blue. Coy will come in and no doubt do some things off the get-go as a freshman in our back end on defense, and just really feel blessed to have Coy part of our program. Drayshawn Manyweather is a bigger running back. He's a 6 foot, 210-pound running back. He's a little bit of a different kind of guy we've had at running back here. And so having a big physical guy, and he's a very athletic guy. Y'all will really enjoy looking at his highlights, and you'll think, and that guy's that big. And so it's really impressive. He is one of those young men that when you're around him, it doesn't take very long before you realize that if he ever needed a father, I would adopt that one, because he just has a great way that just kind of brings you into his life. And those are qualities I think that are really a great fit on a college campus our size. He will be really a rock star on this campus, and both in personality, but I know one thing: when that ball's in his hand, look out. And we're kind of old now, running back with 3 seniors, and so you're going to see some running backs in this class here as we get a chance to look at it. We got another guy here coming up in a minute that I'll share with you a little bit about who he is as a running back, as a wide receiver kind of guy. But this is a really special group of running backs in this class. Quentin Peoples is a outside linebacker out of Leesburg, Florida. And Coach Camp and Coach White, we're involved with recruiting him. And I think Coach Camp just probably enjoys some of the trips to Florida. But it was with good results because this is a beautiful young man. He's a phenomenally physical guy. You know, sometimes it's a great gift to be able to knock your lips off somebody and do it repetitively. And at linebacker, you got to be able to live in that world. But he also kind of, when he takes the pads off, he's one of the kindest, most respectful individuals that you can ever imagine. And it's kind of flipping that switch on and off that truly, I think, Mark, is remarkable that some guys figure it out. And that's part of our filters here that we recruit. We want guys who are equally impressive off the field. And he's that guy. He can run like a gazelle. And he is a fast forward 15, and that's his jersey number. And we're grateful. This is a fine family, as these are, and I just wish that we had his family closer than Florida, but maybe we'll get him to move to Houston because these are great folks to be around. Cameron Pryor, and this is the individual I alluded to. When you look at guys with the ball in their hand, we're getting ready to see probably one of the most dynamic guys the city of Houston has produced in quite some time. I think when you look at Cameron, last year, I think as a junior, he beat the reigning Houston 100-meter champ for a couple of years. That particular runner out of a school south of us here signed with the University of Houston as a full scholarship track sprinter, was a tremendous sprinter in this city. And Cameron beat him twice last year at the end of the season to kind of become the crowned fastest guy in Houston. And, you know, he's incredibly humble. His ability to speak softly is something that I really admire, but yet he's got great confidence when he talks. He's very intelligent. But he was a quarterback there at Davis High School here in the city in Aldine, played for Coach Showers over there, and did a great job of kind of becoming a wide receiver that could play quarterback and do a lot of things. And so we expected him to be used in a lot of ways. I will give you a little bit of a secret. Come this fall, for the people who really want to know football, let y'all go try to find Cameron Pryor on the field because he may be at 4 or 5 different positions throughout a ball game, and that may be a whole puzzle in itself because we plan to use him in a lot of different ways. Coleman Robinson is a tight end out of Centerville, Texas, a couple hours north, came to our Dallas camp, and we were just wowed by how such a tall, athletic, big guy, his ability for a big tight end to be able to rotate his body in space and catch the ball at difficult spots is truly remarkable. This is a guy who shows toughness in the run game. He's truly a blend. At tight end, you want that big frame guy that can be a wide receiver, but also a strong interior blocking guy. It's a hard one to find, and we found a special one, and we're excited about Coleman. Raymond Randall, linebacker out of Katy, Texas, Katy High School, and I do think that program has kind of figured out how to win, and so he's kind of going from a cat to a dog, all right? It's a good one to kind of go from, and I think we've got an inside linebacker that understands what it means to play the game and play it well. When I was in his home back a few weeks ago, one of the neatest things is I asked him kind of which player did he admire, you know, because most guys will talk about an NFL linebacker or whatnot, and he said Garrett Dolan, which is obviously our All-American linebacker here at HBU. And so this is a guy who's been committed to us. He was our first committed player. He committed to us, I think, back in June or July in the summertime, and for him to want to be like one of us. Now, I will say this right, I think Garrett is very secure in the fact that we think he's a great player here. He's shown that. But I know one thing, Garrett's going to have a young buck on his heels that Garrett better be good because this guy can play. And so that'll be fun just to watch a young buck kind of chase an old guy here around our field. Terrell Stewart is a linebacker out of Lakeview Centennial High School there in Garland, Texas. One of the most dynamic athletes in this group. He's about a 6'3", 210-pound linebacker that runs like a wide receiver, defensive back. This is truly DNA-wise a truly unique guy, and his football career is just beginning. He's a phenomenal winner. I think you look and see what Coach Miller has done in that program 4 years ago, coming in there at Lakeview, and then to be a playoff team, win a playoff game this year. It's a great job by that program, and guys like Terrell Stewart have made that possible. And I just know from being with Coach Miller last week in school, to listen to him talk about Terrell, they'll miss him athletically, but they're going to miss him as a leader in that program. And I'm glad that we get a chance to benefit from that. And I know that Terrell will make that program really proud in the days ahead. Next player is Vijon Wallace. He is one of the more dynamic edge rush guys I think that we've had a chance to recruit in our program. When we get talking about quarterbacks being concerned about their blind side, this is a good one for a quarterback to know where this guy is on the field, because he is a very athletic, DNA-wise, a tall 6'3", 225, 30-pound guy that here again runs extremely, extremely well. And when you're trying to find these pass rushers, what you want to do is find those guys that can come off the outside edge and make an offensive tackle feel a lot of conflict, all right? And so that world is kind of a game that gets played within a game of football, down in and down out, and it is a DNA game, all right? It is genetics. You know, obviously with Samir Martula, the big tackle we signed, that's the one that you want to bring in so that your quarterback feels protected off the edge. Well, guys like Vijon Wallace are the guys that create the nightmare for the tackle. And so this is part of us just ongoing kind of the recruiting of trying to bring great guys in. So we're excited. Patrick Wolf is a safety out of St. Amant. Vijon Wallace is out of Brother Martin High School there in New Orleans. Andre Walker, who is a freshman all-conference player for us this year here on campus, a 4.0 student, this is his teammate from high school, and so it's great to have a pair of Brother Martin guys. That's a great high school program, and we're making great roads into Southern Louisiana recruiting. Patrick Wolf is another Louisiana guy out of St. Amant High School, just about an hour on the other side of Baton Rouge. And this is one of the most interesting football players that I've seen on tape in a long time. Safeties are one of the most difficult positions to play because they live in constant conflict. They're charged with the task of being a tough linebacker, but yet to be a dynamic pass defender. It is one of the most stressed areas. They have to play in such a rare DNA genetic makeup, but the intellectual part is so difficult for them to master. The game has to slow down or they'll live in confusement. And Patrick is phenomenally gifted at a high school. He's extremely well coached. He'll come in as a 6 foot, 185, 90-pound safety. He is of size already. He is a strong player already, a weight room proven kid, and is a great deep ball defender with a vicious run support mentality. And I think this one's going to be fun to watch around this place for a while. Bailey Zappi is a quarterback we signed. And I tell you what, this guy here, I think if y'all kind of got used and kind of liked watching Tony Dawson run around and make some things really happen, we've got another guy with like Tony Dawson coming in as an athlete. Bailey is out of Victoria East High School there in Victoria. I think when you look at Victoria, it has produced some great players in the past. Our quarterback coach, Charlie Reeve, our passing game coordinator, is from Victoria as a high school player. All right, I think probably Charlie Reeve in this room right now was the best quarterback ever to come out of Victoria, Texas. All right, now when I'm around Bailey, I can assure you that Bailey Zappi is the best quarterback that's ever come out of Victoria High School. All right, so outside of about a 48-hour period or so, we've not really had him on the campus at the same time. We're trying to recruit, but so we're gonna be nice to him. So I got a feeling here this summer when he comes on campus, we're gonna find out who the better quarterback is. And all I know is that Bailey, Coach Reeve was an all-state player. He was an All-American at Texas State. He's an All-American. We'll just see what your career looks like in college. So fair enough right there, Coach Reeve? Yeah, I think so. I know that these freshmen, these 17 guys are truly guys. And, every year we talk about trying to out-recruit players that are on campus. So a player sits in here, and as I shared with him even three weeks ago, the night before classes started on the spring semester, I reminded them every day out there as coaches, we're trying to out-recruit them. Then our job as coaches is to develop our players so they're never going to be out-recruited. And in that way, you're developing your program so that it always moves forward and never becomes idle. And these players here, in many ways, I can say that DNA-wise, are going to make our players here on campus say, wow. And that's a great part, I think, that as coaches we have the excitement of doing. These guys are fully locked and loaded blue and orange lovers. All right? They are a great group of dogs. It's amazing to see, the beautiful thing about social media, they begin to already build the social relationships, and it's really neat just to see them already becoming teammates. I do want to kind of mention 3 guys. Often on National Signing Day, it's easy to kind of bypass sometimes your mid-year signees. And we have signed 3 mid-year JCs that we are so excited about the being on campus. I can tell you that Barbara Toller deals with these mid-years with Rachel. Y'all deal with these mid-year JCs, and this is difficult. You know, a week before Christmas, you're ready to go on vacation. You got football coaches saying, we need your help to get these guys going. And so we were able to bring in 3 guys that we know are difference maker. Cody Hooks is a center out of Willis, Texas, and then to Blinn Junior College here in the state. He is a big, strong guy, 6'2", 6'3", 300-pound center. We really wanted to bring in a center in this class, particularly a junior college guy, if we could find. That's a really unique skill set. And to be able to snap a football between your leg, to be intelligent enough to call all your blocking schemes, and then to have the physical ability to do it. It's really one of the most kind of unsung positions on the football field. He's an accomplished player in that area. And so we're extremely excited about having Cody part of our program. He's doing great. I know already he's leading a pretty good group in that weight room. He loves the weight room, so you got to love a guy that comes in here loving the weight room. We got Jonathan Graham. He's out of DeSoto High School, a great program in the Metroplex. Went to Cisco Junior College here at the state. He's a junior defensive end. He's another guy that's a very fast forward. His sack tape coming from junior college. He is very, very productive player, very athletic, fast player. And for those that kind of keep up with the world of football in this state, players that come out of DeSoto High School in this state are dynamic college players. And so he comes in with all the great background and a great backstory to him. And so we look forward to Jonathan in our program. And then our lone California this year is Raphael Lewis, truly one of the difference makers in this class, a phenomenal cover cornerback, and so smart. His football IQ, his range on the field, his fundamental skill, and just refinement of his footwork is tremendous. And I just know from early guys in our program that have watched him work out on the field already with our guys, they've come back and said, Coach, he's unbelievably quick. So that's a great guy just to have added as all 3 of these guys. They make us better, and so we look forward to the days ahead. So those 17 freshmen and 3 mid-years make up 20 in this recruiting class. We'll probably have one more maybe add next week to the class if everything goes well. And these are good days in Husky land. And thank y'all for being here today. And certainly we'll look forward to answering questions there with the media afterwards here. But thanks very much for this day. Thank you.
Now, Vic's going to be available for any media questions, and everybody watching at home, stay tuned. And Lonnie King is going to have conversations with some of our assistant coaching staff and talk more about this great class that we have here in 2017. So thanks again.
And welcome back. You have heard the announcement of the recruiting class here at HBU for the 2017 season, and Coach Vic Shealy announcing the 17 incoming freshmen and some junior college transfers that are already enrolled here on campus. And got just a couple of minutes to visit with some of the assistant coaches here who had a part in the process, joined by Roger Henshaw to start things out. And Coach, Henshaw is a veteran of a lot of recruiting classes and a lot of recruiting seasons.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Lonnie.
Well, you know, I respect that greatly, and just want to get your thoughts, first of all, on the process. You and I were talking a little bit earlier, but you can remember back to the days when you guys were just going out there with nothing to sell but a dream and a lot of promises. And now, 3 years in, through a 4th year really in the program, you've got some stuff to sell people on when you go out to sell HBU football.
I think every recruiting year, Lonnie, we all tell the story of standing in the parking lot behind center field and the baseball field with the old police station out there and the soccer field, holding our arms out going, and picture this, and picture this. And it really makes us proud of those kids and those families that actually bought into something that they couldn't see. And we have come far enough now with the support of Dr. Sloan and Steve Maniaci that now we don't have to stand there and do that, because tangible evidence of the progress that we've made has helped us have probably, as it should be, the best overall recruiting class we feel like talent-wise that has come in yet. And that's the way it should be every year. I should be able to stand here next year and tell you the same thing because of what you heard Vic say about making sure that you out-recruit what you have on campus, and then try to make sure that we understand that responsibility of coaching the guys that are here so that they'll never get caught by the kids that we bring in. But just that progress in that area where people had to just picture something in their mind and imagine it, then yes, we've come a long way.
So what's it like today? What kind of reception do you get, not only from the families that you talk to, but the coaches at the high schools are basically just as an important part of the process?
Well, the biggest thing that I remember is because of the commitment that Dr. Sloan HBU had to making this a Division I program, is when we first went out. Vic hired me that spring that he came in, and just he and I went out in May some, and you would walk in and talk about the program starting, and the coaches would look at you and say, "That's great. Now, what division are y'all?" And we'd say Division I, and that really raised some eyebrows right off the bat. So that kind of stability with where we're going really has allowed coaches now to understand HBU is another opportunity for their kids to get a scholarship and play Division I football and stay in the city of Houston.
One of the things that I know has been a goal for you and the staff is to draw kids from the Houston area. And I think in this class we see evidence that you've been able to canvass the area and get a lot of kids just from within driving distance of the campus.
Well, when you look at our roster, it looks like we all spend the night at home when we recruit there, because it's really peppered with local kids. But I think we know, as Vic mentioned, in the state of Texas. But one of the most important things is that when a kid has played high school football, and that mom and dad, the people that really love them, are standing outside that locker room when the game's over with, then we feel like that we want that to continue to happen. And so here you have a Division I program where those same people can be outside that locker room giving you a hug or patting you on the back or whatever it is that you were raised doing, can continue now even and playing Division I football.
As you look at this class and some of these names and faces in this group, are there any that stand out to you in particular?
Well, I think knowing, Lonnie, that this season will be the last season for those first two classes that came in. So as Vic said, we had to address a lot of needs, and when we put our depth chart up on the board, and you always have color designations for certain classes, then there's a lot of that color that's on that board. So we're going to have to go back out again next year and work very hard to bring in a class, numbers of kids as well as quality. It was so good to see so many really good linemen, both defensive and offensive linemen, come through in our recruiting process that we feel like obviously anybody that knows anything about football knows that the whole football game revolves around all those guys can do for you up front on both sides. And so those linemen, we're really excited about the guys that are coming in. And then, it's for us on defense, obviously, is two guys on the edge to rush and two guys on the edge to cover cornerbacks, and we feel like we had to make sure that we address that this time. And so we feel like, right now, understand in recruiting, all we're able to do is judge a guy based on what he does against the players he plays against. And so the next step is for them to come here and prove to us that their game can begin to rise up with all the other people that are around them that are better than what they played against in high school every day.
And that's an interesting point, because really you have to judge the character and the ability to grow for a kid.
Well, there's always that projection of what you see a guy in maybe 1 or 2 years. What is he going to look like? Is he going to be bigger but be the same speed, or is he going to stay the same and be faster? So that's where recruiting is, and skills and evaluating. What happens with a lot of those FBS or those Power 5 conferences is they go see a guy. I know people are going to laugh, and my wife laughs too, but one of the first pieces of advice I got as a young coach was take your wife to the game. If she can pick him out, that's the guy you're trying to recruit. So they got to stand out like that for those Power 5 conferences. And we have to do a great job of evaluating and seeing the potential for a guy 1 to 2 years. Our hard part has been that whoever we signed, we brought them, we had to throw them in the game right away. Now we feel like we're at a point now that if some of these guys come along a little more slowly than others, that we can redshirt and afford to do that, which makes your program go, because kids are always more productive at 21 and 22 years old than they are at 18 in the college game.
Now, for you and the other guys on the staff, do you get a chance now to kick back and take a deep breath for a little while?
I don't know how long that honeydew list is right now. I'm afraid to kind of turn the page because it's all on the first page. I got to turn the page to the second page, but it's just going to be good to be home. Here's something that probably a lot of people understand. It's going to be so good to be home with my wife and not be on the phone and be able to talk to my wife. She's mentioned that a couple of times to me. And once the recruiting's over with and you know you're slowing down, then that's when you really get the quality time, like Vic said.
Well, hey, congratulations on the class. We appreciate you spending a couple of minutes with us. Roger Henshaw.
Lonnie, for you, anything, brother.
Thank you, sir. That's Roger Henshaw, one of the co-defensive coordinators on the team. We're going to get Charlie Camp up here, one of the other defensive co-coordinators. Coach Camp, good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Hey, let's spend just a minute talking with Coach Henshaw about the process. And you guys, you know how it is. And a lot of people may not know how it is. But you've been going right up until about the last minute trying to finalize this class.
Absolutely. I mean, as of basically Sunday evening, or Monday evening, excuse me, just getting our last guys finalized and in the boat, and with the papers and how to sign them. And so yes, it's been a process. But I've enjoyed the process. I really enjoy being around the families and of the players that we have coming into our family. Really excited about the intangibles of the players that we have. I mean, really the sky's the limit. I'm really excited about our future.
I kind of chuckled when Coach Shealy talked about your trips over to Florida and how you must have enjoyed that. But I would think you've also got to enjoy some of the local talent you got too.
Absolutely. I mean, gosh, I'm really excited about the Beak and Coy Miller. Those. I mean, our secondary is really got an adrenaline shot, if you will. And Patrick Wolf is a phenomenal football player. And it's gonna, I mean, he'll push for playing time immediately. There's no question in my mind. Obviously, and we got a great leader in Raymond Randall, and a guy who we're gonna build a defense around, who's gonna quarterback it, and he's got a chance to be around Garrett for a year, and a guy and Garrett will lead him and guide him and show him the way, and he'll do a great job of following. I mean, that's just what type of kid he is. So. Wow, what a great class. I mean, we got a defensive tackle in Shagun that's, I like him a lot. He's a big, rough guy, and, you can't have enough of those guys. And a defensive end in Vijon that's gonna, that'll be a blind. It'll be scary to be the quarterback, with his speed and his athleticism coming off the corner.
And it looks like you've got some guys that bring in a nice combination of the size and a little bit of quickness too.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what was one of our focuses as a defensive staff, and we would all sit in there. I mean, we all have to feel good about and offer a guy we want on our defense. So everyone's got an opinion, if you will, and that's one of our number one criteria is athleticism. A guy who can bend his knees, change direction. And obviously we want the other things as far as his competitive nature, who he is and his character, what is his body of work, not just the football part. It's the whole player, if you will. So we're ecstatic. We're excited.
And you touched on this too, talking about Garrett Dolan, but it's got to be nice to be at a point now to where you don't feel like just because you've got some talent coming in, you have to rush them into anything.
No, exactly right. Yeah, and Garrett's a senior, and he's really excited about his senior year, and I'm excited to be a part of that, and it really takes a lot of pressure off our young players as far as coming in and having to go in and play 60 or 70 snaps like Garrett had to do as a freshman, which has also prepared him then made him the player who he is too. So God won't put us in a position that we're not prepared for. So we'll see what happens. But I'm ecstatic about our recruiting class. I mean, we got some young guys that we're going to see. We're going to give them every opportunity to play, and if they're ready, they will.
Thanks for taking a couple of minutes to visit with us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Charlie Camp, one of the co-defensive coordinators. Let's get one of the offensive coaches. I've lost my earpiece here, so Coach, Scott Smith, the associate head coach and co-offensive coordinator. We've talked defense with a couple of guys up here, and Coach, you've got to be excited about some of the offensive players you've got coming in this new class.
Absolutely excited about every single one of them. You look at them, as Vic shared today, you spend over a year recruiting them and going after them, and we're very excited about every single one of them and what they can do.
We were talking with Coach Henshaw about this a little bit, but a lot of people see this day and the culmination of all your work, and they don't realize how frenetic your life has probably been the last couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, but that's just what you do. Having coached in high school for years myself and going back and forth, this is game day today, the completion of the game, and there's just the relationships that you develop through the recruiting, and then you get to spend 3, 4, 5 years with them. The relationships that last after the time of competition and things. It's an exciting, lovable business.
You've got some guys that I know Coach Shealy talked about will push for some playing time in this group of people, but at the same time you've got some guys in front of them that you've come to rely on that you may not have to rush anybody in.
That's exactly right. And, as Coach says, we tell the kids that are here we're going to out-recruit you, but then we tell the recruits that we're doing we're going to out-work you and out-develop you. And, that becomes true. And when you think about it, that's the push-pull. That's what you do. And, I think players have bought in. They understand what that is. And, it's become very, very, very exciting.
Yeah, one of the things that impressed me was the receiving corps that you recruited, and some of the guys, the variety, if you will, of types of receivers. You've got some guys that can maybe work inside and look like get out on the edge with some size and speed. Talk about what you expect to see from some of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Jalen Johnson and Dennis Houston on the outside, particularly. And a lot of times you can use them on jet sweeps or with them, but they can really stretch you on the outside. And then their length, Coach talked about with Coleman Robinson, who's an H-back, but talked about his catch radius. But Jalen's and Dennis's catch radius is just so helpful. And then Cameron Pryor inside, the things you can do with him. So. Yeah, we really, helped our depth there, and they'll come in and they'll push. And whenever you have competition, that's when you really start to get good. But we're excited about the perimeter.
So many of these kids, too, that you've got coming in are coming in from playoff programs in high school football, and guys that have some experience playing beyond the regular 10-week season. That's got to be something that is impressive to you and is something for you to build on.
Yeah, absolutely. And you bring up a good point about particularly Texas high school and even Louisiana or a few other states. But, it takes 16 games in this state to win a state championship. But then you look at the FCS playoff, it's a lot the same way. So kids can understand that. Coaches, we understand that. And, again, there's a big part of, too, in recruiting young people that come from programs that have been successful, bringing that part with them here.
I was going to save this for Coach Shealy, but do you have any thoughts on Bailey Zappi, the quarterback you're bringing in? And I know you've got some guys at the position already, and Tony Dawson just finished up his senior season and had a great season for you. What's QB position going to look like?
Oh, it's going to be exciting, with the young men that we have here. Of course, we're going to miss, Tony. But again, Coach got on Charlie Reeve a little bit, both of them being from Victoria down there. But, no, we're real excited about Bailey and the things that he can do, and we'll come in and he'll compete and go. So, always having that trigger man. And then I can't help but, mention the big boys in the line, Samir and Cody Hooks that have, come in inside. So we're excited about this group offensively and, the whole team. It's been a great effort.
So let me ask you, what are you going to do tonight?
Oh, well, I tell you what, I'm going to try to get a little bit of nap, maybe get to bed a little bit earlier or whatever, but, go over these kids with my wife, make sure she knows which ones are in the boat. So we're excited.
I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to visit with us.
Lonnie, appreciate all you do.
Scott Smith, the associate head coach and co-offensive coordinator. I want to get Shannon Kelly up here, the assistant head coaches. And here you come on, Coach. I'll let you walk across me.
Sorry about that.
We're both good-looking guys.
I'll let you say that. I won't say that.
Hey, always an exciting time on signing day, and it's the culmination of it. We were talking with some of the other coaches about this, but a lot of people don't realize the hard work that you guys put into really trying to get kids in, and what this group looks like today may not have been what it looked like even as recently as a week ago.
Well, it's a 9-month process. I mean, it starts going all the way back, March, and you start gathering all the information on the guys. You talk to the coaches, and you go to their spring ball, and you watch film, and you get to know them. You invite them to your camps, and you've got to know their parents, and you've texted them, and you've tweeted them, and you've been on all the social media, and then you do the home visits with them, and you get them to come visit here. And it is a thorough vetting process that you go through, trying to find the right, not just the right athletes, but also the right fits. Because that's important too. You want to make sure that this guy that you're recruiting is going to come in, he's going to gel with what you have here.
Running back, a position you're very familiar with and you work with on a regular basis, has always been a strength here for the program in its first few seasons. But now we're getting to the point where the guys you've relied on are coming to the end of their college road. So it was important for you to go out and find a couple of guys that you could fill in down the road.
Yeah, and obviously, running back's a position that we highlight here and we utilize in a lot of different ways. The neat thing about this class is that we kind of have a little bit of different mixes across the board. We got a guy that's kind of a multi-talented guy that can play receiver, can play running back, he can kick off return, punt return. And then we've got another guy that's he's a big brawny back, that he's going to hit it north and south, and another guy that's a speedster. So we've got really 3 good backs, one multi-purpose, 2 solid guys. I mean, we've got a whole diverse group that's going to come in and really help us, I would think, immediately.
As you go out now, and this is more of a generalized question, more so than about the specific guys you've brought in, but when you go out there now to talk to folks about HBU football, you finding it's getting easier every year?
Well, I think the interesting thing, it's funny you bring that up, the interesting thing is you have guys now that are recruiting you. And in the past, it'd be HBU who? And now it's HBU. And so you establish that through winning. I mean, look, winning cures all ills. And once you're getting established, that's the first thing you look for, a foundation. You want to build a philosophy and a foundation. And then from there, you got to start building some wins. And we've done that. And we were proud of last year's season, and we fought hard, and we were in a lot of games, and that we had opportunities to win. We beat ourselves in 2 of the games, but it makes everybody more excited, and it cures a lot of situations where people have doubt, and now people know we can win, and we are going to win here.
Well, I've asked all the coaches this question, but what are you going to do now? You suddenly have everything in the rearview mirror, at least for a couple of days. You got some family time planned?
Oh, you bet. I mean, that's the thing about recruiting. People always see the end product, but they don't see all the work that goes into it. And as a coach, it's part of what we sign up for. But we raise everybody else's kids, and we don't spend any time with our own. And that's kind of part of the sacrifice. My wife deserves a little bit of my time, and so do my kids. And I look forward to spending a little bit of time with them.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time with us today, and good luck this coming season.
Thank you so much for having me.
Shannon Kelly, got, let's see, who do we got? Coach Brandon North right here. How you doing, Coach?
Doing good.
Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Well, here is the defensive backs coach for the Huskies, and you've got a pretty good haul.
Yes, sir.
You brought in some good guys, some hitters, and some guys that can cover. Talk a little bit about what excites you about this new class coming in.
Well, we were able to, fill some spots where we really needed some help, and we're getting kind of thin in the back end there. And like you said, we got some guys that can cover and can run and can hit. We got some length. These guys are very smart and intelligent, extremely high football IQ guys. So, just very excited about the overall character and the overall product that each one of these guys brings to the table. So it's just been a blessing and a joy to be able to sign this caliber of guys.
Do you expect to have any of these guys that are able to push for some playing time immediately?
Well, you always hope that they can come in and play and make an immediate impact. Only time will tell. We're always talking about, coming in and competing for positions with the guys that are already here on campus. I always talk about a competition in our room, so the guys that are on campus already know that, hey, that competition, we're going to try to keep it, firm and keep it very much a part of our, mentality and our upbringing in our room. So, yes, sir.
Let me ask you this. Knowing now what you know about what it takes to play in the Southland Conference, how much, when you go out looking for a player, does factoring in who they're going to have to play against go into your decisions?
Oh, very much a lot. You want to be able to, especially in the back end when there being so much one-on-one matchups. You've got corners one-on-one with receivers. You got safeties. They're going to be covering receivers, and they're going to have to tackle backs. So you want to have guys with some good length because the receivers are getting taller, and you want to have some safeties with some good size to tackle these bigger backs. These backs are, 6 foot, 200-pound backs. That's a big back to tackle. And I know that from experience because, back when I played, it wasn't a lot of us throwing the football around the yard. Everybody's running the football. So you had to be a good tackler to play in the back end. Yes, sir.
We're talking about a former SFA lumberjack here, so he knows the conference.
Yes, sir. So, had the privilege to play in this conference and have coached in this conference for some time. It's a tough conference, very athletic. You run into a lot of athletes that have gone off and played at FBS schools and have come back to their respective hometowns or close to their hometowns, and so you're dealing with a high caliber, high-end athlete every week. So you got to make sure that when you're out recruiting that we got 6'3", 6'2" corners at this school. We make sure we have a little length there and a little speed and a little agility, and I don't have to have that, but it's definitely something that's on your mind when you're making decisions.
Well, good luck this coming season. Congratulations on the incoming class.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Yes, sir. Brandon North, running back, defensive backs coach. Well, let's see if we can find. Here comes Coach Kitchens, and we will get him up. Kendrick Kitchens, the wide receivers coach. And Coach, we were talking with Scott Smith about your haul. You got a nice variety of receivers coming in.
Well, we got 3 receivers that make me smile, and all 3 have different, bring different aspects to the game. So we covered everything that we were looking for in this receiver class. We got speed, we got length, and we got dynamic playability.
We talked also with Coach Smith about this, but one of the things I noticed is that these guys are coming in from winning programs too. They've had some success on the high school level, and that's no guarantee of future success, but it's nice to have these guys who know how to win and know how to get the job done.
Well, the good thing about it is when you come from a winning program, losing is not acceptable. And kids that don't want to lose and will do anything not to lose, that brings that attitude to our program. So we got 3 different receivers that comes from winning programs that hate to lose more than they like to win. And we're going to get it done big time this year.
As you look at these guys, and it's really not fair to put you on the spot like this, but are there any that you think can push for some immediate playing time?
Well, all 3 will get the opportunity. They will get the opportunity to compete, and it's up to them. The time is there, but they have to go take it. It won't be given to them. So they have to compete, they have to learn their playbook, and they have to deliver. And I think we'll have a really good fall with all 3 of those receivers.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you taking a couple of minutes. Congratulations on your class.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Kendrick Kitchens, and let's see who we got. Let's get Drew O'Daniel up here. Offensive line coach.
Good afternoon, brother.
How are you?
I'm well.
Well, you should be. You got a couple of big mooses coming in here.
Yes, sir. Fired up and excited about it.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Samir Martula, his high school coach, Gene Johnson, out at Cy Ranch, said that HBU stole a big-time player.
It is a steal. He's a true gem, highly sought after, and for all the right reasons, because he works really, really hard. He knows ultimately the success that he'll get to experience is going to be through hard work, and that's just kind of who he is. It's how he's brought up. A wonderful family, great family kid that has a tremendous future. I'm just excited to be part of it.
And we talked a little bit about this in general with some of the other coaches, but to be able to find kids, and Samir Martula fits that description, that are here from the Houston area and can kind of get the opportunity to stay home and still play in Division I football had to be a benefit for you.
Absolutely, I think so. You take the idea that, hey, as Coach said earlier, I mean, I am a Florida product. I do work in the state of Texas, and I've got a great appreciation for not only just Texas football, but Houston football. And coupled with the quality education that you get, what a great league, great experience, great city to be in. So for the opportunity for him to be part of all that all in one is a really neat thing.
And you're bringing in a JUCO transfer as well.
Yes, Cody Hook's so fired up, a guy that can run the show, a man that is of size, a guy that really liked from the moment I met him and able to kind of get things worked out with him coming from Lynn. He's already here now, busting his tail, doing great things, showing great leadership. Really excited about what he'll do here as well.
And Hooks, I think, is a guy maybe you project more as a center or somebody interior and Martullo on the outside?
Yes, that'd be fair. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But I guess all things are under consideration.
Hey, be ready to. We're a next man up kind of mentality, and so all the guys take great pride in understanding schematics, the calls, and so you really never know when your number may be called. So be prepared to play them all. But yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
If there's a hole, fill it.
Hey, absolutely. These guys are willing to do it.
Drew O'Daniel, we appreciate you taking a couple of minutes. Congratulations on the class this year.
Thank you so much. Be blessed.
All right, let's see. Who do we got? Burl Jordan, Charlie Reeve. We'll get them.
Hey.
Burl.
Hey, Lonnie.
How are you?
Doing well.
Good. Burl Jordan, defensive line coach, and yeah, you're bringing in a couple of guys. I looked at Igiera and watched some of his film, and he's a pretty impressive specimen.
Yes, sir. Really excited about having Shagun. He has been a guy, like Coach said, he came to our camp up in Highland Park, and just really enjoyed getting to know him, getting to know his family, being in their home and getting them down here on the visit. Great story. They came over from Nigeria and just been really successful, and just he's got a really bright future. So we're excited about him.
Shannon Kelly, I thought, put it in a good way. You guys, for a couple of years, have had to go out and sell HBU, and now you've got people coming to you and trying to sell kids on to you, and that's got to be a big change as you go out recruiting.
It has been nice, because we went out, and again, trying to just – people didn't know HBU had a program, and now they're right here. People would go out, oh, I caught y'all's game on TV. I saw y'all play so-and-so, or I saw, or I look on Saturdays or Sundays and see what the scores are, and man, you guys had some great wins, or you're doing great things, and so it's nice that people know who we are now. We're not out spreading the good word. I mean, it's about results and what we're doing and how we're impacting student athletes' lives on and off the field, and seeing the success that we're having. So that's been great as well.
And the other part of that is that with some of this maturation of the program, you've got guys in front of these guys that you're bringing in, and I'm sure you want them to contribute if they can, but you're not necessarily counting on them to do that right away.
Yes, it's not like the early when all those guys came in and had to play right away, but we don't shy away from it. The best players are going to play, and that is a unique thing, because I know even in my position, I can attest to it, obviously from when we started, but even last year, Greg Vincent from game 2, he started, because he was the best. And the guys know it too. The guys want to win, and everybody knows their role. And so I don't make a big deal to me out of who's a starter and who's not, because all those guys are going to play, especially at this position. You got to be able to roll guys and play, and sometimes find the guys that are playing the best in that game in the matchup. But a guy that can come in and contribute, I mean, those are huge assets, and those are, again, the best guy will play, and we want to win games, and that's our ultimate goal.
Now, I know this past season was your first season as a married head coach. I would imagine your wife is going to be happy to see you this evening.
And she is, and also because we're about 3 weeks out from having our first child, so she is. She's been excited. Obviously, being back and then being involved in the recruiting weekends. Our wives come out to dinners and things, so she's enjoyed that part of it. But again, being around the house, we've got a big to-do list, and I know she's already got things lined up. We got to finish the baby room and all those things, so she's ready.
And someday in the future, you're going to have to thank the baby for waiting until after signing day.
Absolutely. So we're excited, though. Little Aubrey having a little girl. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the class.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Lonnie. I appreciate it.
Burl Jordan. Well, Coach Shealy, I'm getting the signal we need to wrap this up. So just a reminder that fall football schedule is going to be posted at hbuhuskies.com. Huskies have 2 non-conference games coming up this season, and both of them will be on the road. And one of them is Texas Southern, so it's a local game. So 4 home games on the schedule this season, and 1 road game that's going to be easy for you to make it out to, so we want to remind you to check that out. And here's the man of the hour, head coach Vic Shealy. Coach, first of all, congratulations on the class. Looks like you were able to find some guys in a lot of positions to sort of bring in and fill some gaps.
Well, we really like this group. I think when we kind of went out back in last spring and really looked to see what are our needs, you start looking at what you're going to graduate and areas that you just feel like you need to improve, within your team. We felt like it would be a pretty comprehensive class, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, running backs, defensive backs, receivers, quarterback, kind of a little bit of everything. And just really proud. It's hard to stay disciplined, to sit there and say, all right, this is what we decided we were going to define for this particular scholarship, and then we're going to keep finding and keep hunting and get that guy identified, and then you work hard to get them on campus and try to get a chance to share your story. Hopefully they'll feel good about us.
And a lot of folks, and we've talked about this with some of the coaches that have been up here earlier, but for you guys, it's always a fluid situation right up until this morning.
Absolutely, and what happens is, it's the same thing that every school experiences, is that at the last minute you can lose 1 or 2 guys, and because maybe Baylor loses a guy, so all of a sudden they come in, or we had a Big Ten school come in and offer one of our players last night, and but yet he never knew any of the coaches up there, and it was just a blind call, and I'm sure they just picked his name off a list, but those things happen. But at the same time, we're able to get 1 or 2 late. We got 2 guys late that were deep into the recruiting process with other schools, that came our way. So, sometimes you're the beneficiary of it, and sometimes you're the one that get the sorrow.
Well, it all sort of leads into what's lying ahead for you, and that starts here just a few weeks now with spring ball. It gets underway pretty soon.
Yeah, matter of fact, we'll be on the field next Monday, the 6th of February, and so it'll be good. We left feel like there was some unfinished business into the fall last year. Felt like we had become a good football team, but there's a lot of areas we can get better. And our goals are to line up and win the conference here. And we're every day working to do that, be it recruiting a class like this, which we feel like does a lot to help us get there faster, but also developing our kids. And part of that is the fundamental, the technical side that you go out there as coaches every day. And I've never met a coach that's worth his salt that doesn't love teaching the game in an individual way to players. And so we get a chance to really go to work on Monday with our guys, and we'll go 15 days over a 5-week period, and it'll be a great time.
You did have your most successful season last year, and I know you also feel like, as you said, you left some games out there that could have been won. But as you went out this year, did you find it easier to sell the program?
Oh, absolutely. I think, in your third year really playing football, and you line up and, we have nice wins there over obviously SFA and Lamar and Abilene Christian and Texas Southern. And, there's not really too many 1AA schools in the state of Texas now that we don't have had now success over. And so, that's an easy narrative to be able to sit there and say, we've kind of got that part of being competitive and being a good team figured out, but we got to get better. And that's why we're recruiting these guys to get better in the expectation that they will help us get there pretty quick.
This coming season, you've got, for the first time, 9 conference games. You've got McNeese State, Northwestern State on the schedule for the first time. A little bit of a change-up. When you look ahead to the season, do you see that's going to be a challenge for you?
Well, right now we're just trying to win on Monday, and I know that I'm not trying to kind of just give you coach talk, but we need to have a great spring ball, and at a period of time, moving forward, we'll come to worry about next fall.
Well, we want to let the folks know they're looking at the schedule right now that there's just 4 games here on campus, but a couple of the road games, TSU for sure over at BBVA Compass Bank Stadium and Texas State over in San Marcos. You've got a lot of road games that are going to be easy trips for the fans to make this fall.
Yeah, I think so. And, that Texas State game, that'll be fun. I think, we need to have a great showing of our people over there. And I remember a few years ago when we opened up at Sam, we had a great crowd, and the HBU group showed up big, and so that needs to happen. And I expect great things out of our football team that day, and we need to go out there and get our first FBS win, and then come back home again, against Texas Southern. And you're right. I think playing downtown, why can't that be a home game for us? So let's do a great job of playing in such a way that our fan base will be excited about going down there and showing that could be our home field too. But this is going to be a fun year. I think, certainly McNeese coming in on the schedule, and Northwestern is good to play some of the more of the Louisiana schools, and it's a good thing. There's nothing like conference games. They bring out the best in a football program.
Well, we appreciate you spending a few minutes with us. Congratulations on the 2017 class. It's going to be fun to look forward to this team on the field in the fall.
Oh, absolutely. We're excited.
All right. Vic Shealy, the head coach of the Huskies. That's going to wrap it up from here at the Glasscock Center on the campus at HBU and the signing day press conference. You can go to hbuhuskies.com. This broadcast will be archived. If you didn't get to see all of it, you can go back and watch the entire event live in the archive. You can also check out more details on each of the recruits that were announced today. But for now, we're going to say so long and dogs up. Appreciate you being a part of this afternoon, and we'll see you down the road.
Dogs up.